Tbilisi Open Air Museum of Ethnography. It's a very unique and very special place. Welcome back, everyone. Tbilisi, Georgia. Back out here again. We're actually up on top of this beautiful hill overlooking the city. You can see down there the stadium and the beautiful skyline of Tbilisi, and we're here up on this hill to see something very interesting. In fact, right here across the street there is the Tbilisi Open Air Museum of Ethnography, like Georgian Ethnography. It's really interesting. There's a bunch of preserved buildings that are like old style Georgian houses. You can see them going up into the hills over there. And I think we're gonna see some cool stuff and learn a bunch about Georgian ethnography in this beautiful setting on the hillside here. So come along. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you want to help out the channel and help it grow, I really would appreciate it. Click on the like button down there, the subscribe button, and the little bell next to it to be notified for when new videos drop. It really helps the channel grow because it's going to help the YouTube algorithm recognize this content and spread it to other YouTube viewers. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I would appreciate that as well. You can leave a super thanks by clicking this thanks button here and give a small donation to the channel. I appreciate your support. So back to the video, enjoy. So I don't know much exactly about this place, what we're gonna see. I know, other than the buildings here, I know like some of them you can go into and they're preserved inside. They have like, you know, like a preserved kitchen or like preserved with like tools and stuff that would have been used in these like, in, you know, times past, right? But it is cool because it's open air. So it's basically just like a big park up here on the side of the hill that you can walk around and see all of these things. I'm not sure exactly how much it's going to cost to get in, but we're going to go find out. So let's go. All right, so we are in 25 lari to get in, which is just under 10 bucks, about like, I don't know, 9 bucks. And we were able to pay with credit card, so they do accept credit cards. Look at this beautiful place. There's like some school groups here, I think, doing the tour. And I don't know how many of these buildings we're going to be able to get like into. I think to start we'll just walk over this way and see what there is. Even without all the museum parts of this, it is a really beautiful park up on this hill. Beautiful. Okay, here's some information. Sajalabo House from Ontofo Village, Abasha Municipality, Samagrelo. I'm still trying to pronounce things. I'm still trying to pronounce things in Spanish. You know, like with a Spanish pronunciation. It's gonna take me a long time to get over that. There it is, the house. Go check it out. Maybe we can go inside. So inside, very cool. Hopefully there's enough light to see all this. It is like preserved 18th century home, so 1700s in Georgia, what the home would have looked like. And there is a guide here, her name's Tsitsana. And she actually spoke excellent English and told me a bit about all of this. Like, there's some traditional clothing. There's a rifle from the era on the wall. This is really interesting. This is a baby, like a baby's bassinet. And this little wooden thing here actually has a little pipe that goes down underneath. And it's basically a diaper. So when the baby has to go, they go in there. Firewood here. And the family would sleep over here on this side, with the children separated from the adults over here. Right now, the only thing sleeping here is this little cat. There was a dog outside chilling. Fire pit in the middle for warmth and for cooking with these hooks. They can hang pots like these over top to cook. Places where they can dry out like garlic and other things. Garlic, super, super popular in Georgian cuisine, which is excellent because I love garlic. And over here, these boxes by the door would be used to like dry out fruit and vegetables and things like that. Very cool. Very cool. Take one last look and we'll head on to some of the other buildings. But very, very interesting. So something else about these like houses, these are not all like from, it's not like this was a village and these were all just like here and they preserved it. These have been moved from different places. So like this one, and I think also this one that we're going to look at here from San Magarello in Abasha, those are like, that's in western Georgia, which is what the woman Tsitana told me, that it's like western Georgia, meaning over by the Black Sea, like over by Batumi. And they moved all of these here to this place, which is a pretty significant undertaking. It's pretty amazing. So this next one, Oda House from Antofo Village, Abasha Municipality, San Miguel. It's basically from the same municipality, the same place, but it's a different family's house. We can go in and check it out here. You can see the design a little different. This one has glass windows on the front, so maybe it's a little bit newer. It has glass windows on the front, which the other one didn't have any windows. It has a tiled roof, like with like Spanish style tiles, clay tiles, and the other one just had like a wooden roof. So this house, very interesting. This house was owned by it's newer than the other house that we were just in. The family, this is a 19th century, 1800s house. The family, 3 generations, lived here, and the family was wealthier than the family from the other house. So that's why there are glass windows. There is a large, like, stone fireplace that actually has 3 fireplaces for 1 chimney, one for each of the rooms. The rooms all circle around the fireplace. This is where the grandparents lived, in this room. It's very cool old like chest back here. Here the main room from the entrance, and you can see like oil lamps and candle holders and photographs of some of the families that lived here. This dresser, wardrobe, handmade, Georgian, very, very like intricate, very expensive. So you can see that this was a much wealthier family. Pretty cool. Very cool. And of course out here, I really like they've preserved also like gardens. Have gardens preserved in sort of the way that they would have been with the fencing also. Everything here seems to be like just preserved right out of time, the way it would have been back in the 18th or 19th century, from whenever these houses were from. Very cool. There's a lot of these different buildings too, I've just noticed. I mean, we've only been at 2 so far, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can see like 8 just here. There's some more up on the hill. It's very, very cool. Don't know exactly how many of these we're going to be able to get into. So far, both of them have had very, very friendly and very knowledgeable guides who've given a little mini tour in excellent English. both of whom, when I told them they speak excellent English, said, no, it's not that good, which is what a lot of people, I think, do when they're trying to speak a second language. They're usually better. You're usually better at speaking a second language than you think you are. Here's a house from Marani village. Different village, same municipality. And this one, let's see. Looks like we can go in. This is really beautiful, the yard. The Ethnographer's House Scientific Research Center. Oh, okay, this might be, let's see. I think this one is closed because this they're using as the like scientific research center for all the ethnographers that are here doing all the research. Still very cool. You can see from here all the way up on the hill these other buildings. And I don't know exactly how many of these are part of the museum, like going up on the hill. Like, you know, there's one like way up there. I don't know. Let's keep walking though. Keep walking and we see what we find. You can see here on the sign there's little, headphones, because there is an audio tour that you can purchase to do this. There's also guided tours that you can get in English, Russian, and Georgian at various different price points. Here we have house from Atsana village, Lanchhuti municipality in Guria. This is a completely different area, completely different region. It's very cool. It looks pretty similar to the last house that we saw, though. Very interesting. I would imagine from the roof tiles, the fact that there are glass windows, that this is a 19th century. That's going to be a guess. Let's go check it out. Beautiful interior here. Middle class house, very similar to the one that we saw before. Very, very cool, ornate wardrobe. The bedrooms for different generations, again. And really interestingly here, this are Gurian horsemen, famous Gurian horsemen who actually went to the United States and appeared in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, but no one in the United States knew where Georgia was, so they were said to be Russian Cossacks, even though they were Georgian Gurian horsemen. Very interesting. Very interesting history here. Malova. Outside here in this outbuilding, which actually is a kitchen, an outdoor separate building for the kitchen, and also the stable where they would have kept livestock, possibly like a cow, maybe some chickens. So this back here, the kitchen. The kitchen used to be the family's house, original house. And eventually they built the larger house here, moved into it, and then used this as the kitchen. Here, out here, a well made from clay. And also over here, you'd miss it if you didn't know, but I was told this is a wine cellar. There are big clay jugs buried under the ground to keep cool for wine. Large yard with an extensive garden. This is a middle-class family, or this was a middle-class family. Everything built up on top of these stones so that the house is up above the ground for ventilation underneath. The house built from chestnut. There are chestnut trees out in western Georgia. They grow out there, and pine for the floor. And interesting, what I found out was these houses that we've seen so far are all from western Georgia. They're built out of wood because western Georgia is warmer, is more humid than up here in eastern Georgia up in the mountains. So up here, the traditional like types of houses that you would see here in the mountains were all built from stone. So these wooden houses is all from like western Georgia. Interesting out here, a vineyard. Of course, Georgia, birthplace of wine. Vineyard, little garden, growing. They have all this preserved. They're actually growing grapes in the vineyard. It's very cool. This here, there is an oven here. Two of them actually. Two big kilns actually for firing ceramics. These old ceramics here. I think this may be they may be like having, when kids come here, they get to make little ceramics and they fire them in this kiln. That kind of looks like what's going on here. Very, very cool. Another house up here. Some more buildings out here. That building up there that we just walked up to is like used for the staff. It is an old house, preserved. Out here, some stables with really interesting stuff. All the old carts. That would be horse-drawn carts with plows to till the soil. Very interesting. Up there at the building, I was talking with a gentleman who I met named Georgi, and he spoke excellent English. We got to talking, and he has actually studied English for a long time, been to the United States a few times. We had a very, very nice conversation, and he actually told me that all of these buildings were all moved here over about a 10-year period from 1960, middle 1960s to the middle of the 1970s, basically 66 to 76, I think he said. And all because there was a desire to preserve these for future generations to see. And they were all disassembled, taken apart, and then brought here in pieces and then put back together here. So all of the houses, all of the storage huts and things back here, the chicken coops, the stables, the blacksmith house up here, and all the other houses that we saw all moved here over a 10-year period, which actually, when you really think about it, is not really that much time. And the amount of effort that it takes to move all of these things here and then keep them, restore them, and maintain them, and have the staff here to explain everything. It's a very, very cool, it's a very unique and very special place. It's really incredible because the Georgian, the culture that is developed here in Georgia is so unique. Because of, just like the language, really. I don't know if I've really mentioned this in any of the other videos that we've made, but the Georgian language is super interesting. It's only used here. There are a couple other dialects that are used here as well that are really sort of unintelligible from Georgian. And, it's a language that's only spoken here in this tiny, country, in a very small part of the world. and it's entirely unique, as well as the alphabet. You know, it's one of only, I don't know, 10 or 15 alphabets in the world, and it's only used here in Georgia. And it's because it was, developed in isolation here in this very isolated region in the mountain valley, separated from other regions by mountains. It allowed a very interesting language and a very interesting culture to develop here. Very unique. It's very cool. Well, I think these buildings here closed off. This, I think, is a fishing hut for potentially preparing fish, because those, I can tell, are fish traps in the front. You would put these in the water, and the fish can swim into the big end here, but then they can't get out that way. And the river or the current flow of the water would keep them in here. Same thing with this. They'd be able to swim in the big end, but not be able to swim out the little end. Have some big ceramic. I think these are like what they would use for winemaking. So these would be like, I think, buried, made out of clay, and buried under the ground like we saw in that previous house. Buried under the ground to keep cool. Over here, this whole separate zone over here, we found now with stone buildings, which I imagine, from what I've been told here so far, would be from here in eastern Georgia, where the climate is colder. There are, harsh winters, and you need the stone for the warmth. Darbazovani, from the village of Rabati, Samtsiche Javacheti. This is open? I don't think this one is open, but man, it's like a whole compound. The house and a wall connecting out here to, I don't know what this is, a stable maybe out here. Kitchen. Let's see if we can see. We can poke our, well, it doesn't look like there's much preserved actually inside, but I would imagine that would be maybe a stable or a kitchen. It's interesting, here in eastern Georgia, definitely colder in the winter, but it is pretty warm in the summers around here. Yeah, no, this is locked up. It is pretty warm in the summers, and the stone would be able to keep you cool as well inside during the summers. I could just tell when we were in that building, just putting the camera near that window, I could feel how much cooler it was inside. This stone house here, very, very cool. I think this on top, of course, with the sheet metal, this is like not part, I don't think, of the original house. The original house, like we saw on the sign here, is like this. And I think we can go inside, check this one out. This, we're inside this house, the stone one here, and this is from like central Georgia, Kartli region. Stone because of the climates, with the central fireplace. Some tools over here, and these shelves that are set back into the stone is actually designed so that things would keep cool, because setting them in amongst the stone keeps things cool. There are these little clay insert pots inside the walls, which are said to be like the ears and eyes of the house. And the pillar here, these pillars that the whole house is built around, is the mother pillar, which is like the central, not just like structural pillar, but also like spiritual pillar for the house. And the most important and coolest thing is the crown above here, which is like a chimney. And each one of these planks, there's over 450 planks here to construct this. No glue, no nails. It's all held together by gravity and by its own weight. And you can see how it's designed. It's really, really amazing. 12 corners it's called, this design, so that smoke can get out from the fire here. It's very cool. Very, very cool design. That was very cool. That might be the coolest one that we've seen so far, with that crown, that like massive chimney structure, the crown. Amazing how that's built. Here is the basilica, or the remains of the basilica. Let's see. This, I was told, is 5th, 6th century, 5th or 6th century. So much older than some of these other ones. It was also moved here, taken apart, moved here piece by piece, and then reassembled. Because this is from the Sioni region, and apparently where this basilica was located is now like a big water reservoir. The whole area where this basilica was is underwater. Yeah, Sioni Basilica. This is really cool, though. It's amazing what they've been able to preserve and reconstruct. I mean, imagine taking this apart, piece by piece, stone by stone, moving it here, and then having to like recreate and put back together this this part with the dome. Crazy. Such an amazing undertaking. These huge columns must have weighed a ton. Just the amount of work and effort that's gone into recreating, or not even recreating, rebuilding these things, taking them apart and putting them back together like some giant psychotic Lego set. It's crazy. This really is, like I've said before, a very special place, and I think it's very cool that we've seen several school groups coming through here. Like I mentioned, our new friend Georgi, who we met, who said that the whole point of this place is to preserve all of these things for future generations to see. It's really a labor of love. It's very, very cool. But I think because we have seen pretty much everything there is to see, seen this really beautiful view from up here on top of this hill, I think now it's going to be time to call it for this video. I think that'll be it. That'll be the end of the video. Man, this is a really cool place. I didn't really know what to expect when I came here. I knew there was sort of an open air park. I knew there was some preserved buildings, but a lot of really great information. The guides had excellent information. They spoke very good English. They spoke English very well, even though every one of them, when I complimented their English, said, no, it's terrible. It's not. They have excellent English. And also, I think Russian, if you are a Russian speaker, because every one of them sort of asked me, do you speak Russian or English? So I think there are a lot of Russian speakers here as well that visit. And one of the tour guides that you can book, the guided tours, was for Russian as well. So I think those are the three most common languages: Georgian, of course, and then also Russian and English. But I think that's going to be it. Take one last look at the beautiful site here, the Open Air Ethnography Museum here in Georgia, in Tbilisi. Don't miss this. Seriously, if you come here to Tbilisi, this is a must-see. This was so cool. So it's very, very cool. Definitely one of the coolest things I've seen here in Tbilisi, in Georgia, but also one of the coolest museums that I've seen in the whole trip, just because of it's not just a few preserved artifacts behind a glass, case inside a building. It's full-on preserved houses that they took apart piece by piece and moved here hundreds of kilometers from the other side of the country and rebuilt them here, keep them maintained and restored. It's really beautiful. This building here at the very front by the gate, where all the tour guides are, and it's like the administration office building. I was told, Georgi told me, that this was the very first of the buildings. The very first one that was taken apart on location and then brought here and rebuilt. And you can see it's actually quite big, with the stone foundation, the tile roof, the wooden walls, the glass. It's quite a big building. And it's quite an accomplishment what they've done here, moving all of these buildings here, piece by piece, over the period of only just 10 years. Quite an accomplishment. Anyway, that's going to be it. Going to find ourselves a bolt to get back down into the city. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. And there's plenty more going to be coming from here in Tbilisi, plenty more from Georgia. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you in the next one.